All right, let's talk about something that probably feels a little too real for a lot of us, the workday that just doesn't end. We're going to dive right into how we can start to tame this then.
I mean, really think about that for a second. When are you truly done for the day? If you can't come up with a clear answer, you are definitely not alone. This complete blurring of the lines, it's become one of the single biggest challenges of modern work.
And here's why it feels so impossible to get anything done. Research from Microsoft found that the average worker gets interrupted by an email, a meeting, a chat notification every 2 minutes. 2. That's not a workday, that's a constant firefight for your attention.
So how on earth did we get here? Let's actually walk through what this so-called infinite workday looks like for most people, hour by hour. The day kicks off before you've even had that first sip of coffee. By 6 a.m., a whopping 40% of us are already in our inboxes. Then, by 8 a.m., the floodgates on platforms like Teams just burst open. And then, bam, you hit the 11 a.m. overload hour, where messages, meetings, and jumping between apps all just peak at the exact same time. But it doesn't end at 5. Oh no, meetings after 8 p.m. are actually climbing, and by 10 p.m. nearly a third of us are doing that one, last, final inbox scan. It's just this relentless cycle. But here's the thing, it's not just about the hours we're putting in. It's the sheer complexity of how we're talking to each other. Mass emails are up, Teams messages are up, and you know those huge meetings with like half the company in them? Yeah, those are the fastest growing type of meeting, making everything feel more chaotic than ever before.
All of this digital noise, it absolutely comes at a price. And it's not just about feeling busy. It's about the very real psychological toll this takes on us. So let's get into why we all feel so completely wiped out.
The official term for this feeling is cognitive overload. It's basically when your brain is trying to juggle way too much information from way too many places. Think of yourself as one of those old-timey plate spinners at the circus. You're just constantly running back and forth, desperately trying to keep dozens of different plates from crashing to the floor. And every single notification is just another plate you have to start spinning. It's exhausting.
So if you feel like your workday is just pure chaos, you're not making it up. You're actually in the majority. This quote from Microsoft's Work Trend Index is pretty telling. Nearly half of all employees, and get this, over half of leaders feel this way. It's this widespread shared experience that proves the way we're working right now, well, it just isn't working.
Okay, enough about the problem, let's pivot to the solutions. Because the good news is, we are not powerless here. We can absolutely start taking back control, and it all begins with the single most powerful tool you have, your calendar.
When it comes to managing your time, people usually fall into one of two camps. There's work-life balance, which is all about building a big, strong wall between your work life and your personal life. Then there's work-life integration, which is more about blending the two flexibly throughout the day. But here's the secret, it doesn't matter which one you prefer. Neither of them work without a solid system underneath.
And this right here is the bedrock. This is the foundation that makes everything else possible. Whether you're a balancer or an integrator, you absolutely need a single source of truth. One place, just one, where you can see everything. Your work tasks, your personal appointments, your big deadlines. Without it, you're not managing your time, you're just managing chaos.
So let's build that toolkit. First, and this is huge, put everything on one calendar. Your kid's soccer game is just as real as your team meeting. Second, block out time for deep, focused work and treat it like it's a meeting with your CEO. It's non-negotiable. Use color coding so you can see at a glance where your day is going. Schedule your hardest stuff for when you have the most energy. And finally, this one is a game changer. Do a weekly mind sweep.
A mind sweep? What's that? It sounds complicated, but it is beautifully simple. Once a week, you just take 15 minutes and you dump everything, and I mean everything, out of your brain. Every task, every nagging worry, every little, oh, I should remember to, gets written down. The act of getting it out of your head and into a trusted system, you will literally feel your mental RAM clear out. It's incredible.
But look, personal habits are amazing, but they can only take us so far. To really, truly fix the infinite workday, we've got to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the cultures and the systems we all work in.
So Microsoft has this concept they call a frontier firm. What is it? It's basically an organization that gets really smart about the 80-20 rule. It uses things like AI to handle all the low-value stuff so that its people can focus on the 20% of work that drives 80% of the results. It's a total redesign of work itself, moving away from celebrating busyness and towards celebrating actual impact.
Now, changing a company's strategy is one thing, but all around the world, a much more radical idea is starting to catch on.
What if protecting our personal time wasn't just a nice company perk, but a legal right? This idea actually has a name, the right to disconnect. And it's not just some theory, it's becoming law. You've got France, which requires companies to set rules for after-hours digital use. Australia now says employees can reasonably refuse to answer calls and emails after hours. This is a real global movement to legally rebuild the boundaries that technology has torn down.
So, we have personal strategies, we have corporate philosophies, and now we even have legal frameworks. When you put all of this together, what does it mean? It means we actually have a choice to make about what the future of work is going to look like. When you lay it all out, the answer isn't some single magic wand. It's a strategy that has to work on 3 different levels all at once. On the personal level, it's you mastering your own systems. On the organizational level, it's companies redesigning work for impact. And on the societal level, it's all of us creating new rules and protections for everyone.
And this really brings us to the heart of it all. As Microsoft's Work Lab puts it so well, the question isn't whether work will change, it's whether we will. Technology is here, AI is here, change is coming no matter what. The real question is whether we're going to have the courage to use these tools to build a better way of working instead of just using them to speed up a system that's already broken.
So, I'll just leave you with this final thought. Forget about solving the whole world's problems tomorrow. Just think about today, right now. What is the one small, simple boundary you can draw to start taking back a little piece of your time? Maybe it's just turning off email notifications after 6 p.m. Whatever it is, that's where the change really begins.